there are times when your burden is just so heavy that you can't even speak, that you can't even pray. Lord, I'm in tears. I can't even utter anything, that I'm just writing. All right, now it's time for me to say this out loud because I couldn't say it. I had to write it down. Now it's time for me to declare this, to say this to God. Hey, you guys. So, this is episode 3 of my series, and um, I have some time today. We're going to batch record some content. You hear me? All right. So, today we are in episode 3. We're going to be talking about journaling, and I do have my notes here on my phone because let's be honest, I'm starting to get burnt out, okay? And so, I just want to not make it easy. I just want to just be comfortable and not be all, you know. So I have my favorite hoodie on. It's very comfortable. I had this thing for years and it's still doing what it needs to do. Okay. And so I am starting this new thing on being more organized with my YouTube videos. I'm trying to be more intentional. So I in Google Docs, y'all, this thing is super duper organized. I have these tabs. I have everything linked. And so it's hold on. Okay, file. Hold on. What's going on here? Tabs. Where my tabs at? Okay. So I'm gonna show you here how I have it set up. I don't know if you can see it, but um this is the series, right? Purposeful living, and then I have all of the episodes in there, and so all my notes for that particular video is in there. All right, so I'm gonna click on episode 3. I'm going to episode 3. And if you want me to do like a video, like a screen record showing you how I set this up, let me know because it ain't nothing but a thing. Okay. I love to be organized and I operate better when I'm organized. If things are chaotic, I'm gonna be all over the place. Okay, so and that's why I started organizing my house, because after I moved in, let's be honest, it takes time to find a home for all of your things and really create a space that you enjoy. And so that's basically why I'm like, okay, well, let me just get myself together because it's getting on my nerves. All right, it's getting on my nerves. All right, so we're going to talk about writing it into reality. Okay, that's the theme for today, writing it into reality. And basically, we're going to talk about journaling, and I'm going to share a specific strategy. I don't know the word, but we're going to talk about scripting. And what I'm going to do this go around is I'm going to specifically talk about how to script according to God's promises for us. So, we have to speak out what we want to see, right? We want to speak life into our situation, and so we can write it as well. Okay, so there's power in what we write, because when it talks about writing the vision and making it plain, we're writing down what we see for ourselves. Okay, and so that is what scripting is about. We're writing the things as if it has already happened. Okay, so we're writing it as if it has already happened according to the promises that God has laid out for us. And so that is what we're going to talk about today. So let's tap in. So why do we journal? Okay, let's start there. Why we journal? So for me, I like to journal because it allows me to have a space where I can just be me. And the good thing about it is ain't nobody gonna read it but me. Okay, and God, right? But I know what me and God talk about is between me and God, right? I ain't gotta worry about, hey, why is she telling my business like that, right? And so for me, when it comes to journaling, it creates a space for me to just be me. I can unload what's been on my mind. We process over 60,000 thoughts a day. And so majority of those thoughts are repetitive. And so sometimes we just are saying things over and over because maybe we want to forget it, or maybe that's all that we want to focus on. So for me, I like to write down. write it down. I like to write it down. And there's power in writing things down. And so there are so many benefits of journaling. And I'll share that with you later on in this video. But why do you journal? Let me know in the comments below. What are your top 2 reasons why you journal? Okay. And it makes me feel good, honestly, as well. Once I'm able to unload what's been on my mind, it honestly feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. When I journal, it's also a time for me to connect with God because I write my prayers in my journals. So it's a way for me to just sit, and be like, Lord, this has been on my mind, or Lord, I'm just so grateful. I'm so thankful for what you have got me through. Thank you so much for opening this door. Thank you so much for shutting that door. So it's just a time for me to really connect with God as well when I journal. If you are new to my channel or don't know that I've created the gratitude journal, I no longer sell this journal. However, I'm, in communication with God about my next steps and things that He wants me to do. And so when it comes to journaling, that is something that I always express gratitude for, and hence the name Gratitude Journal. And so that's one of the reasons why I started this whole platform, the Divra Shop, was to promote gratitude, to promote affirmation, to promote vision boards. All of that is what I believe God has placed inside of me to share and promote. What other people talk about when it comes to vision boards, that's not how I, particularly do vision boards. But that's not what this video is about. However, that's something that you can go on my channel and look at the different videos. And of course, I've launched Divra Nation University, where I talk about how to create an effective vision board and the tools and the principles that you need to be following on a daily basis so that you are able to see those things come into fruition in your life. Okay. Now, and so I would say that things really do start to shift. Things really do start to change when you are intentional with what you're writing in your journal. Granted, you're not going to be graded on it. Okay. Nobody's checking you for grammar. Nobody's making sure that, your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted. No. Okay. You can write, and only you can understand what you wrote. That's okay. That's your business, right? That's your business. Journaling is not what I would say. You're just, oh, today this happened, and then I saw so and so, and then so and so said this, and then I went here, and then I did. No, it's not really about that. If you are intentionally journaling, it helps you shape your life. Okay, it allows you to organize your thoughts. It allows you to just really unload and unleash the things that are running rampant in your mind. So why does journaling matter? Let's talk about that. Journaling matters because, like it said in Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision and make it plain on tablets, that he may run who reads it. So when you write, you're taking what's in your heart and in your mind, and you putting it into something that you can see, that's something that you can read and act on. All right. So another example that I like to use when it comes to writing things down is think about an architect and what an architect's job is. All right. Or engineer. They draw up the plans for a building, right? They do the drawings, they write everything down. And what do they do with it? They take that and they give it to the general contractor. The general contractor then take those plans, sees what they drew out and everything like that. Now you got the skyscraper building. Now you have this single family home over here. Now you have an apartment complex right there. So they took what this person wrote and developed a whole structure from it. So that there is power in the things that you write. Okay, there is power in it. And I know we like to overthink. I'm guilty. I'm not gonna lie. However, when it comes to journaling, it don't have to be complicated. It does not have to be complicated at all. If you need to set a timer for 3 minutes, set that timer for 3 minutes. Okay, whatever's on my mind, I'm just gonna write it down. And then put a period, and we're going to shut the book, and we're going to keep it moving. If you really honestly don't know what to write, or if you don't know, what to you just don't know where to start, I would say to use journal prompts. Okay, if you're the type of person that just need a boost to get started, start with journal prompts. All right, and journal prompts, it just kind of give you a starting point. I want you to write down these journal prompts if you're the type of person that just needs some help, just needs a little boost. Let me give you some journal prompts just to kind of get you started. Okay, all of these are faith based, God centered prompts. Lord, what do you want me to focus on today? And then you can go on from there. Then you can, like, if you started with that journal prompt, you say, Lord, I want to do this, but this is going on right here in my life, and there you go. You're on your way, right? Another journal prompt is, what am I most grateful for right now? What am I most grateful for right now? That gives you a moment to stop and reflect on your life. Look around you. What do you see around you? What am I grateful for right now? Write that down. All right. Oh, this is a good one right here, y'all. What fears am I ready to release? What fears am I ready to release? What dreams do I need to stop hiding? This is our time to be, just be real with yourself now in your journal time. You have to be real with yourself. If nothing was holding me back, what would I pursue? If nothing was holding me back, what would I pursue? Okay. So answering prompts like these can open things up, and it gives you the opportunity to release things that you didn't even know that you were carrying. Because sometimes you just need those conversation starters. Have you ever had a conversation with somebody? You was like, "Hey, girl, how you doing?" And then next thing you know, you're like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know I was carrying this weight." Only because you opened that door for that conversation, it just allowed that to be released, right? So let's talk about the benefits of journaling. So definitely it helps reduce stress, okay? It helps reduce stress. Why? Because we're not carrying that thought. We're just, okay, let me just write it down. And honestly, when you write it down, it's you feel a little bit lighter. You really do feel a little bit lighter. And to me, I honestly feel as though when you journal, it does deepen your prayer life, because you're not only just, having a conversation with God, you're writing down your prayers, because you can always go back to that prayer. Okay. And the good thing about it is, when we write down our prayers, we can always go back and be like, Lord, I remember when. I remember when. And now look at me now. You've answered my prayers. How wonderful is that? Ain't that a testimony? Ain't that a testimony? To be like, y'all, I prayed to God about this on this exact date. And today I am living out this prayer. That's amazing. And just think about how good it is if you have like an answered prayer journal or an answered prayer list, and you're like, thank you, Lord, because this happened. Oh, God, you did this. And whenever you're feeling down, or if you're feeling doubtful, go back and look at that list, and be like, Lord, you done brought me through all of this. Oh, we're going to get through this. Oh, we're going to get through this, Lord. I know you're going to get me through it. Okay? All right, so when it comes to scripting, so let's talk about scripting now. So when it comes to scripting, like I said earlier, it's writing things down as if it has already happened. All right, so I know you're like, what the heck does that mean? What does that look like? And so here's an example. So instead of saying, Lord, one day I want a house so that I can, raise my family in, I want to be able to have a job that support my family. I would like to, you're saying this as if it has not happened yet, right? But when it comes to scripting, you're writing as if, Lord, you already answered this prayer for me, okay? So it would sound something like this. Using this example that I gave you. Lord, I am so thankful for this house that you have blessed me with. I have 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms. My kids have a yard that they can run around and play in. Lord, I have my dream job with my dream salary. Lord, I am living in my ideal neighborhood. Lord, I thank you for this blessing. You would have thought I'm
I'm living in this house right now, the way I'm talking, right?
So that is what scripting is. You're using your journal to declare over your life exactly what God has for you. That's basically what it is. I'm going to give you now some tips when it comes to scripting effectively. All right. So you want to be able to choose one goal. All right. Focus on one goal for this particular exercise that you want to script on. Some different examples are, buying a home, starting a business, improving your health, right? Those are some common ones. And so you always want to write in present tense. You want to write as though like you have it, like right now. You don't want to do it as like past, like the future, like, oh, I will one day. No, I have it right now. And so I am so grateful to God for blessing me with a home filled with peace and love, right? Another component of it, is you're adding the emotions. How are you feeling in that moment? Lord, I am so grateful. I'm so thankful. Lord, I feel so happy. Write those emotions down as well. And then you want to thank God in advance. Thank God in advance. Lord, I know that you are faithful. Lord, I thank you. Lord, I give you praise. Lord, all of that plays into it. All right. So you're not forcing it. Okay. You're not forcing it, but you're training your mind for what God has already promised. Okay. That's what you're doing. You're declaring the promise. When it talks about acts and it shall be given unto you, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added onto you. So it's just like you're just using your voice, using your authority that God has given you to speak out exactly what it is that your heart is desiring. All right. And you definitely, in our previous video, we talked about our episode 2, where we talked about the morning routine. Definitely incorporate journaling into your morning routine. And if that's not something that you like to do in the morning, that's okay. I feel like at some point of your day, whenever you have some downtime, some quiet time, take time to reflect and write down exactly what's on your heart. All right, y'all. So I felt like it was fun. Today's episode was chill. I wasn't, on 10 like I be sometimes. But I just really wanted to relax and just breeze through this and just like cruise. I wanted to really cruise through this episode because it's something that is really near and dear to me, because I felt as though when I started journaling for the first time, I felt awkward. It really felt awkward because I was like, who am I writing to? Who am I just talking to myself? And stuff like that. But I felt as though if I kept doing this, it was gonna really make me feel better, and it did. And then another thing that I did not talk about earlier was the fact that there are times when your burden is just so heavy that you can't even speak, that you can't even pray. And then there were times, not a lot, but there were times where, Lord, I'm in tears. I can't even utter anything, that I'm just writing. I'm pouring my heart out, right? I'm just writing. And then once I get done writing, I then read what I wrote. And that gives another layer of it, right? It gives me another layer. I'm like, now it's time for me to say this out loud, because I couldn't say it. I had to write it down. Now it's time for me to declare this, to say this to God, using my words. And so that's another thing that really helped me during those moments where I felt as though I couldn't speak. I couldn't speak in that particular moment. Not to say I ain't speak all day, but like, I need to talk to God. I need to speak, but I can't because it's heavy. And I don't know if it's about you, but sometimes like, we say things to ourselves internally, but once we speak it out loud, it hits different, right? It hits you different to where you're like, oh my gosh, tears start to flow. And so sometimes I can't even say anything because I know I can't get it out, right? Because I know I'm going to get emotional. So I start writing it. And as I write it, that's when it starts to kind of like, I start to loosen up, right? Whatever I was holding start to tear away, right? It starts to release itself. So yeah. So that's it, y'all. I'm gonna stop right there when it comes to journaling. And I hope this video was very inspiring, motivating to you, because um, it's something that's near and dear to my heart, and I want to make sure that it it does something to you. It does something to you, or gives you the confirmation that you need to start your journaling journey, and just being intentional with the time that you have. All right, so that is it for episode 3, and stay tuned for episode 4. Catch me there. And until then, keep writing, keep praying, keep talking with God, spend time with God, and just know that He is here with you and that you're not alone. And continue to allow Him to be the center of your life, and everything will work itself out, okay, according to His will for you. All right, until next time, y'all be blessed.